So I figured I'd do I guess it's about, let's see, 16 months now. Some things have changed in my tank. I'm doing this video on my new Galaxy, so it may be a little different when I upload it on YouTube. I don't know. I've got a new fish. I've got a Melanaris wrasse. I've got a few other new things too. I've made a frag rack here, and I've got some bird's nest and acropore growing on. Some blue, some green, some pink. Some purple bird's nest growing in there. So hopefully I can get them to grow and be able to place them. Got a red rose bubble tip. And I've had some issues with my brain. It's starting to degenerate a little bit. I don't know, pieces of it are, you can see it right there on the front, a part of it's dying off. I don't know if it's because it's not getting enough flow. I had to treat for flatworms. I got some Radeon Gen 4 Pros now. Really nice lights. And I've got tons of growth from my zoos and pallies. I got rid of a couple of my sunset roses. I've got a chalice now. Let's see where the wrasse is. There he is. Real pretty fish. Awesome fish. Should have got him a long time ago. I've made several frags. Drop the phone. Made several frags out of my bird's nest. I've actually gotten rid of a few. Watermelon favia is not doing good. I don't know if it's going to come back or not. It looks like it's got a bunch of growth on the outer part of it. I don't know if that's algae. I don't know what it is. I moved it way back there in the shade and it just hasn't been doing good. Most of my stuff's doing alright. I've had some die off from my Duncans. I moved them. Let's go around and get a side shot. Tons of zinnias now. Get some stuff, some mushrooms and stuff growing in there. Trying to get this GSP to start growing on my overflow and back glass. For the most part though, everything's doing pretty good in here. It's always a work in progress. One of my buddies gave me some Gonioporas that were dying in his tank, but I've managed to bring them back. They're doing pretty good in mine actually. I've got a lot of growth out of my frog spawn. I had to move my torch because my Galaxia started stinging it. I've also made a frag for my Galaxia, which has grown quite a bit. I might end up growing it a little bit bigger and then I'm going to sell it. I had one of my clowns jump out and land on the lid, and when I got home about 4 hours later he had passed. So I ended up actually getting another clown, and for the first week the female was not too fond of him, but since then they're actually getting along pretty good. He's been in there about 3 months now, so but I haven't done a tank video in a while. I'm just wondering how well this new Galaxy does video. If I stand back, maybe they'll kind of act more natural. Usually when I'm right up on it, it just the fish kind of act freaky. But I love this hobby. I'm hooked. I'm just going to keep trying to slowly grow this reef and keep doing what I've been doing, because right now it's working. There goes my dog. Here's something outside. That red rose that I put in there was actually a lot smaller. It's grown quite a bit. I think it's going to split soon. And I can't get my clowns to even go near it. I guess I've got some rejects. The only coral that my clownfish tend to, I guess, host, and they don't really sleep in it, is my Galaxia, believe it or not. My clowns like to kind of rummage around in it, especially my female, which is there in the back. But I mean, as far as the way some of them are, they just haven't gotten to that point yet. Maybe eventually they will. I'm not going to try to force them like some people do. I don't feel like that's the right approach, really. I mean, if it works, it works. Good deal, but I'm not going to try to stress my fish out just because I want them to swim around in an anemone or something, you know. All my fish are pretty happy, and I try to keep it as stress-free as I can, just by having a basement sump and doing all my water changes and maintenance down there. That way I can kind of leave the top tank alone. The only time I tend to get in there is whenever I'm moving coral or placing coral or getting rid of aptasia, things like that. I don't try to disturb the display that much. Or sometimes I'll get in here and scrape some of the coralline off the side glass and places where it grows that you don't want it. As far as the back glass goes, I don't really care. It can overtake the back glass. The more coralline, the better in my eyes. But I put a background on it and stuff, and it was kind of a waste. I should have just put like a solid blue or black. That's my advice if anybody does want the background on it. Just put a solid color, because eventually, if you don't keep it scraped off or have a tank that you can walk all the way around, which in that case you don't really want a background, but it's not even really worth putting one on there. But these radions are incredible. I've got them on just a traditional reef schedule. They're on 10 hours. The blues will ramp up for the first 2 hours, and then it kind of goes to full spectrum for 6 hours, and then the last 2 hours it ramps back down to the blues again. And then I turned on lunar phasing, which is basically like when there's a full moon, the moonlight will kick on, and you can kind of see what it would be like if there was moonlight shining on a reef, basically. For anybody that has the new Radions or even the Gen 3s, I don't know if they have that, but it's a pretty cool feature. As far as changing up colors and all that stuff, I've kind of just left it to where I get growth as opposed to changing everything to make the colors pop out, because even in the blues, the colors from the corals are really pretty anyways. So right now we're at the full spectrum light, which is just basically the daytime light, which is grow light, and I'm only running these things at 25%. I used to have T5s, and I actually moved my T5s downstairs, and they're in my sump now for my refugium, and it's actually done really well down there. And then when I put these on here, I try to make sure that I wasn't going to scorch everything. So my advice is, if anybody gets these new Radions, definitely start them low. 25% is brighter than my T5s were. So So, I mean, I can only imagine what it would be like running these things full power. I guess if you got a 220 or bigger, running these things, spreading them out farther, and maybe running them, since the water column's a little bit deeper, maybe running them a little bit higher. But even then, I wouldn't think you would need to run them all the way up, because they are incredible. I've gotten tons of growth, especially for my SPS corals. I tend to try to keep my SPSs higher in the tank anyways, but since I've put these radions on here, they grow really fast, and some grow faster than others. But the green bird's nest that I had, I've noticed once they get too big, with not adequate flow, they'll start to die from the inside out. And once you start seeing that, it's best to just break them apart and start frags and let them start growing all over again. And that's kind of what I've done here. I had a lot more, actually, because I had a big piece of bird's nest, and I just broke it down into like 6 pieces and kind of placed the frags up around the top of the tanks just to let them start the growth over again. And eventually I'll probably end up having to break these down again, because they take off. I don't know why, but I've never really had much luck with favias in my tank. I had the Indonesian favia, the watermelon favia, whatever you want to call them. Like I said, it started bleaching out, and I had another favia frag in there that I put in there, and it didn't do well either. So I don't know what it is. I try to keep them low and try to keep them shaded like they say to do, but for whatever reason my tank does not grow favia as well. That's about the only coral that I've had trouble in. Supposedly they're an easy coral to grow, so I don't know what it is. Even with my water parameters being perfect, they still just don't want to grow. Everything else does fine though. All my other LPS corals do really good. All my zoos do good. On my torch, I've got a hammer that I started as a frag right here, and it's already, it's got 4 heads on it, and it's gotten fairly big. I've moved it a couple times and did things, here and there to just change up kind of the appearance of my tank, but for the most part, it took me a long time to get my rocks the way I wanted them, and I really love the way they are. My fish have plenty of places that they can go and hide, and this whole left side is just it's basically a huge cave that's got, on the outside, on the back side, they can pop in and out, and there's plenty of places for them to hide in here. And then on my right side, I've got this whole rock. This big rock is pretty hollow on the other side, and there's places where they can go in, and I've got a little tunnel here that they can swim in and out of. And even this rock here has a bunch of places for my smaller fish to, especially my basslet and my wrasse, they can kind of go all the way through it. If I can get down a little lower, you might be able to see how I have these stacked. Yeah, my stupid reflection of my door in the background, but I've gotten my rocks to the point where I'm not, unless I absolutely have to, I'm not going to change them up. And then over here, there's a nice open space they can swim through, and it was hard to get this bridge effect, and now that I've got it where I want it, I'm not changing it. See, there's my tang. He likes to hide. There's another kind of side view where you can really see up inside there. See there, there's my angel right there. They love it. So I try to keep everything off the glass. See, there's plenty of places back here for them to swim. I don't know how well this video is going to be. This is a new Galaxy S8, so it may not be the same as the way my tablet does videos, but I think it's pretty awesome, actually. Here's another side view. You can see some of my corals that I've got growing on the top there, and I plan on eventually putting some stuff along the back and let it grow up, but everybody does their own thing. This is my way. I get plenty of flow all throughout my tank, especially with my MP10s. I've got them wired to where they, or not wired, but set up to where they they run off each other. One ramps up, the other one ramps down, so it kind of creates that wave effect. Yeah. Hopefully people like it. I know there's a lot better ones out there, but like I said, this reef is, I mean, it's only 16 months old, and I'm trying to take this as slow as I can and not overdo it too quickly, you know. That seems to be a lot of the mistakes people make, is they try to go too fast with this hobby, and it can be disastrous. So there she is. Get another shot of my frags I got growing over here. I got some really nice frags growing right now. I can't wait to see them things get bigger, especially my bird's nest frags, because bird's nest tends to do really well in my tank. I got some pink here, and this is like a metallic green. This one's it's kind of got a green, well, you can't tell through the camera, but it's got a greenish, light green skin. It's got pink polyps coming off of it, and there's a couple acropores. I got my blue acropore growing here. And the other bird's nest I have is it's got a purplish polyp to it, which is really cool if you ask me. You don't see too much of that. And there's one of my pink acropores, or purple, I don't know, it's more pink to me, but and I don't know if you can tell how blue my blue is or not, but it's, especially in this light, but it's definitely really blue. And hopefully they stay alive. I'll update again here in a few months, and we can see the difference, see how much they've grown. See, I've got my GSP finally starting to take off. I'm hoping to eventually have that whole overflow covered in it, and then I've got it to start finally growing on the back glass too. I'm going to try to get my whole back glass covered so it looks just like a sheet of carpet. I think that'll look a little cooler than just having a bunch of coralline growing, because you can't really do much on as far as growth. You can't grow a lot of coral in glass, so I figured that one would be a cool one to try to get growing. One last full shot. Alright, till next time.